Well, first I want to, commend Central Florida. They shot the lights out today. They were focused and ready. We got off to a good start, but it was hard to we've had a tough time defending the three, and that was our downfall.
We'll take questions again for the student athletes at this time, please.
KJ, with the way this season ended, some people will say, this team kind of lost its way. How would you describe, did this team quit? How would you describe the way these last two games have gone for you guys?
I think, this team gave their all this whole season. We went out there and tried to compete every time out, and I just think, we just, didn't win the games we were supposed to win, and, at home, and we just put ourselves in a tough situation at the end of the year. But, it was a great year, and we all played hard, all 15 guys when we got in the game, so nobody quit.
Diedrich, I know you're sick of these questions, but I got to ask it. Was this your last game in a Memphis uniform? Have you made a decision yet?
No, I haven't made a decision. I was too focused on the season and trying to further along our season, so it's just something that it haven't been discussed yet between me and coach and my parents. So I was just focused on this game and going to post play.
Jeremiah, what you guys got off to a pretty solid start in this one. What do you think went wrong there 5 minutes into the first half? What did you guys do poorly defensively, and what went wrong offensively? I think you missed 15 shots in a row at one point.
I just think we was getting the shots that we wanted. We weren't making them, and then we had a couple defensive breakdowns consecutively, and they was making their threes, and they had just kind of got to a run, and they had stayed on it, and that's what basically happened.
For Diedrich, the last two games, obviously 71 points combined losses. Does that surprise you? You know Memphis basketball, and you know how well the team competed at the beginning of the year. Is embarrassing, surprised? What's your reaction?
It's most definitely surprised. I don't think no one plans to lose by 30 in both games, but of course it's disappointing from the guys that is from Memphis. I know from guys, period, just the sense of pride of playing the game of basketball and to go out there and lose by a combination of 71 points. It's kind of embarrassing, but as long as you give it your all, that's all you can ask for. I know every guy on the team played to their best abilities, and when guys making shots and when we not making shots, of course it's going to be hard for us to win. So I guess at the end of the day, I'm proud of my teammates, and I love playing for them this year, and such as coach. And it's been a great year. It's been a great year. So that's all you can hope for.
KJ, you guys all said you guys played your hardest. What was the difference between this group at the end of the year and the group that was there in January and December when you guys were playing pretty well?
Like he said, we just didn't make shots. They got 26 bench points. And, I think everything else is balanced on the other end. We had more points than them in the paint and off turnovers and second chance and fast break. But they bench points, beat us by 12, and we let a shooter get rolling. They got into a groove early. But
just in general, you've lost 6 or 7 games here down the stretch.
That's basketball, win or lose. You can play the game to win or you lose. We lost games. Nobody expected us to win 19 games anyway. So we went out there and gave it our all at the beginning of the year and at the end.
Any other questions for the student athletes? Gentlemen, thank you. We'll excuse you to the locker room. And we'll take questions for Coach Smith at this time.
What do you think the last couple of games? It was. They all said they gave it their all.
Yeah.
Was there it felt like there was a. I don't know.
Well, we hit the wall. We just hit the wall. Simple as that. I really relogged a lot of minutes. I played guys a lot of minutes early in the season. It was probably my fault. We probably should have developed more of a bench, but we went through a stretch there without some real inside presence. Without Chad, and then when Chad came back, we really didn't get the really lift that we needed. So, and when you're not making shots and you're worn down, your shot changes. So again, I don't think anybody ever quit. We just got outplayed, outshot. I mean, we were defending extremely well, and that's something that we had a real problem with, was defending the three in late, especially in the last few games, and that's been costly for us. Especially with, I think the last game they had about 14 or 15 threes, and today they had 14 threes. You're just not going to win games allowing people to. Again, and that's where you see the what can I say, the not energy level, but the size and the bulk and the disparity when you run up against teams like SMU and Central Florida. We just got to get some bigger and stronger players.
I kind of hate to ask this, but there's rumors and whatever, but I'm curious, are you happy at Memphis? And you take out the media, the fans, were you happy with how this season went overall?
Oh yeah, well, I'm never happy when you lose. Nobody's gonna be, but yeah, we hit the wall there. I'm happy. We're pleased with where things are going. I think we're headed in the, other than the last 6 games, I think we've been heading in the right direction. We had probably started right here when we had a 17-point lead against Connecticut, and but I was hoping that we would respond better, and be a little more patient. I think, again, that's what happens though when you're fatigued and you're worn down. You can't sustain that level of intensity, and then you break down, psychologically. And we didn't. Again, we got some, even guys that haven't played much, like a Keon Clojo. It's practices. You're going hard and you're practicing him. I don't know what else we could do other than because I thought our guys competed every day in practice. Just need to be more competition in practice so they can get better.
Going forward this offseason, what will you focus on? It sounds like you're talking to a lot of guys. Most, like you said yesterday, most of these guys are going to be back. What will be your focus this offseason to get this group back on track to the way they were playing?
Well, stronger. That's one of the things you saw. I think we you really didn't have a lot of time to be in the weight room, and I think that's where you see the difference in the physicality of opposing teams that are a little more mature and maybe more experienced. But again, with all these guys that are underclassmen, and we didn't start a senior, and we had Christian Kessie and Chad Rycook, and so that's where we'll start to focus right away. We probably had a period there when we first took the job that we didn't really, get on the weights like we should. We really didn't have a strength coach until later, and I think those things probably that makes a big difference.
Coming out of a timeout with about 3 minutes left, KJ and Diedrich were laughing a little bit coming out of a timeout. Does this team
In the last
3 minutes they were coming out of a timeout, and the game was over at that point, but they were sort of laughing. Did winning and losing matter enough to them, and did you establish?
I would hope so. I mean, nobody wants to lose, so if and attitudes about winning and losing, having some pride, those are things we talk about, and those are things that we need to instill in our players. We hope we had, but as I said before, when adversity sets in, you're not sure how guys are going to respond or how they're going to act or how they're going to behave. You hope they behave the right way, and you hope you've taught them how to, about that. But sometimes it takes time.
One more for Coach, please.
What will you take as the positives? What do you think you established this season that you can take going forward with this group?
Well, I think when I look at the youth and inexperience, we've had some good wins and we've had some bad losses. I mean, the last 2 games were bad losses, but we were in pretty much most of the games up until the last 2 games. I mean, we had a great chance to win here against Connecticut. We had a good chance to win against. We played poorly at home, but we lose to Houston at home. We had some I thought we had some good runs, and I think just in the end, the lack of experience, because I've done enough to know we had the same issues at Texas Tech. We had young players. We got hammered by 45. You know, just you got to establish something somewhere, and so you have to. Sometimes you have to take the bitter with the sweet, and hope guys will come back and look at this game and say, you know what, this is not going to happen again, and that's what you have to do.
Coach Smith, thank you.
Thank you.